The warning klaxon screamed through the bridge of the UNSC Defiant as Kievan's hands flew across the pilot controls. 3 Draconian warships had emerged from the nebula, their crimson hulls gleaming like freshly spilled blood against the stars. "Captain, we're outgunned 3-1, Kievan reported, his voice steady despite the ice forming in his gut. "Recommend immediate jump to hyperspace." "Negative, Lieutenant." Captain Morrison's gruff voice crackled through the comm. "We hold this position. Earth Command needs those 5 minutes. Kievan gritted his teeth. 5 minutes. An eternity in ship-to-ship combat. The Draconians had conquered 17 star systems in the past decade, their princess warriors leading fleets that reduced human colonies to ash. And now 3 of their capital ships wanted his blood. The lead ship opened fire. Kievan's fingers danced across the haptic controls, throwing the Defiant into a corkscrew dive that would have turned a lesser pilot's brain to soup. Plasma bolts seared past the viewport close enough to paint shadows across his face. "That's it. You lizard bastards," Kievan muttered, launching the Defiant into a trajectory that defied physics and sanity in equal measure. "Come and get me." What happened next would be debated in tactical academies for generations. Kievan didn't just evade, he danced. He threaded the needle between crossfire patterns, used the enemy's own weapons as cover, and somehow convinced the Draconian ships they were shooting at ghosts. His hands moved with superhuman precision, born from 10,000 hours in simulators and the desperate creativity that only humans possessed when their backs hit the wall. 4 minutes and 30 seconds later, the Defiant remained intact. The Draconian ships were not so fortunate. One limped away with its engines trailing plasma. Another spun lazily with its navigation systems fried from overheating while trying to track Kievan's impossible maneuvers. Then everything changed. A 4th ship materialized from hyperspace, sleeker, deadlier, its hull adorned with golden draconic script. A royal flagship. Kievan's blood turned to ice. "Defiant, this is Draconian Royal Command," a voice purred through every speaker on the bridge. It was feminine, rich with harmonics that suggested something ancient and powerful. "We wish to speak with your pilot." "The one called Kievan." The bridge fell silent. Captain Morrison's face appeared on Kievan's secondary screen, confusion and suspicion warring for dominance. "Lieutenant, I don't know, sir." But even as Kievan spoke, something tugged at his memory. Something about that voice. "Kievan," the voice continued, and now it carried a note of amusement. "Don't you recognize me?" Look, the view screen flickered. Where 3 warships had been, now a single figure filled the display. She was magnificent, scales that shifted between emerald and gold, eyes like molten amber, horns that swept back from a regal face that was somehow both reptilian and heartbreakingly beautiful. She wore armor that seemed grown rather than forged, and behind her, massive wings folded with geometric precision, but it was her smile, challenging, mischievous, achingly familiar, that made Kievan's world tilt. "Hayal?" The name escaped his lips as a whisper. The dragon princess's smile widened, revealing teeth that could rip through starship hulls. "Finally. I thought you'd forgotten your childhood sweetheart." Memories crashed over Kievan like a tidal wave. 20 years ago, the diplomatic colony on Kepler 442b. He'd been 8, the son of Earth's ambassador. She'd been... what? He'd never known exactly. A dignitary's daughter, he'd assumed. They'd spent 3 months together, 2 children exploring alien gardens while their parents negotiated treaties that would ultimately fail. She'd had amber eyes even then. You were... Kievan struggled to form words. "Draconian?" Hayal laughed, a sound like wind chimes made of crystal swords. "Did you think my people sent children to diplomatic functions? I was already 200 years old, Kievan. I just wore a form you'd find less frightening. You're attacking human colonies. Your species broke the Kepler Accords first." Hayal's expression hardened. "But that's not why I'm here. I've been searching for you for 5 years. Do you know how many human pilots there are? How many ships I've had to not destroy while looking for one particular stubborn, brilliant, impossibly skilled fool?" Kievan's mind raced. The Draconian attacks, always brutal, but never quite as devastating as they could be. Always leaving escape routes, always targeting military installations, but avoiding civilian populations whenever possible. The tactical analysts had called it arrogance. They'd been wrong. "You've been holding back?" "My fleet commanders think I'm insane," Hayal admitted. "They're probably right. But I made you a promise, remember? Under the silver trees? He did remember. 2 children, human and whatever Hyle truly was, swearing by starlight that they'd find each other again. He'd thought it was make-believe. That was a game, Kevin said weakly. Not to me. Hayal leaned forward, her image filling the screen. Here's the situation, Kevin. My people and yours are at war. I'm third in line for the Eternal Throne. You're a lieutenant in Earth's Navy. This is, by any objective measure, a terrible idea. Then why? Because you're human, Hyle interrupted, her voice fierce with pride. You just fought off 3 capital ships with 1 frigate through sheer audacity and skill. You did something my tactical computer said was mathematically impossible. Twice. You're why humanity terrifies us, Kevin. You're why this war will end with negotiations, not conquest. Because you never ever quit. The 5 minutes had elapsed. Kevin's orders were complete. He could jump to hyperspace right now, leave this madness behind. Instead, he asked, "What do you want, Hayal?" The Dragon Princess smiled. The same thing I wanted 20 years ago, to see where this goes. But first, her expression turned predatory. You need to teach my pilots how you did that maneuver at minute 3.2. It was absolutely beautiful. Despite everything, the war, the impossibility, the sheer insanity, Kevin found himself smiling back. That's going to cost you a ceasefire. Done. Though I'm keeping my claim on the Tau Ceti system. Hayal. Kidding, mostly, she grinned. Same time tomorrow, Kevin? There's so much to catch up on. The transmission ended. Captain Morrison was screaming questions through the comm. The Draconian ships were withdrawing, and Kevin sat in his pilot's chair staring at the stars, wondering how a childhood promise had just changed the trajectory of an interstellar war. Humanity. Fuck yeah, he thought. But also love, apparently, even across the void between stars, and he